Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a salsa de molcajete, a roasted tomato salsa crushed in the mortar, and it's a recipe that I think you should know by heart. The first thing that we have to do is to roast all of the ingredients, and of course in Mexico many of the kitchens have large griddles, and so they would throw all the vegetables on the griddle and roast them there. Since in the States we don't have a lot of griddles that are at easy access, I choose to do all of my roasting with the heat above, meaning under a broiler. So what I have here are some plum tomatoes, and they're very ripe. These are from the farmer's market. Sliced white onion, some garlic, and a jalapeno that's going to go in here, and they can all be roasted together. So I can just slide these. I've got the rack set as high up as it can possibly go, like 4 inches below the coils of the broiler, and I'm going to just slide this in here, and we're going to let that roast for about 6 minutes or so, and then I'm going to flip everything over and roast the other side. You kind of have to watch that garlic and the chili to make sure that they can take that full 6 minutes. Sometimes they get done a little bit earlier than everything else on that. Now let's talk about the mortar. This is an essential piece of equipment in all traditional kitchens in Mexico. This is a molcajete, a mortar with a pestle, and this one is made out of lava rock, a type of dense lava rock called basalt. And when you buy one of these, I always recommend choosing one that has a very dense and heavy feel to it and is relatively smooth, meaning no pocks of craters in the middle of it. That usually indicates that it's made from very light basalt, and it'll just grind off rock into your food. So this is one like people would use all the time. It holds about 3.5 cups, which is a really good amount for this this kind of a salsa making thing. So I will meet you back here when all the vegetables are roasted, but also have cooled off enough that I can start to make that salsa for you. Okay, so everything is cooled off now, and I'm peeling everything. The garlic, the papery skin will come right off. And by the way, you do want to roast this garlic with the skin still on it, because that will help to protect it from getting really too dark. Now, some people would call this salsa a salsa tatemada. That has become a kind of nice catchphrase these days in Mexico. And it just means a super roasted one. Maybe you want to roast it even a little bit more than this for a salsa tatemada, but this is going in that direction. Okay, so we've got those all peeled. I'm going to take I'm getting all of these little pieces of the papery skin there, and I put those straight into the mortar here, and this roasted jalapeno will go in there as well, and we'll start doing the grinding here with a bit of salt. Okay, so now I'll just say, for those of you that don't have a mortar but still want to make this salsa, I would do the same kind of thing but using a food processor more than a blender, I think, in this situation, because I like this salsa to have a little bit of texture left to it. But I will tell you, when you make it in a mortar, you are doing rock against rock crushing here, and the aromas that come out of it, the flavors that come out of this salsa when you do it crushed in a mortar is so different than if you put it into the food processor or even the blender. So I've made a paste here. I will say this is one of the most glorious smells in the whole wide world, roasted garlic crushed with green chili that's roasted, but I've made a full paste of it there. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is, and you don't have to peel the skins here, but some people do and some people don't. I usually take it off there. And what you saw me do was to kind of crush with my hand the tomato as it went in here, because if you don't, it'll squirt. And so you don't want to end up with it squirting all over the kitchen here. Now, you'll notice that the way that I am holding the pestle part of this is the way that everybody does in Mexico. They like to work up against the side of the mortar like that. And a lot of people think you should hold it like this and kind of pound. You can't do that with this mortar, with this molcajete, because it will, it'll break, it'll crack on you. Okay, so hand crushed tomato, and then working against the side of the molcajete and crush it. If you have round tomatoes, this will be a lot juicier. I've chosen plum tomatoes here because they give it a beautiful, beautiful texture. And I'm going to just keep working here until I get all of these in here. Okay, like I said, I like this to have a little bit of texture left in it. And anything crushed like this in the molcajete will have that wonderful coarse and rustic texture. The pieces of onion that have been roasted here, I'm going to cut into smaller pieces and mix those in. That adds even more texture to this. So I want to cut them into fairly small pieces so that their flavor is evenly distributed. So we'll put that in there. And then, of course, taste this for salt. I'm going to stir in here first the onion, and then grab one of my tasting spoons here to give it a taste. So, wow, is that good? I put some salt in there. That just helps in the crushing of the garlic and the green chili. And I was using jalapeno, but you could use serranos. You could use any kind of little chili that you happen to have on hand or that you like the flavor of. But it was really lacking in salt. So I'm going to give it another taste after salting. Almost, but not quite there. Okay, so now we have a beautiful roasted tomato salsa, which, by the way, will keep for several days in your refrigerator. Some people like to do canning with this. This would work, but you would have to do it in a pressure canner because it just doesn't have enough acid in it. But here we have one of my absolute favorite things in the whole wide world. A recipe you should know by heart, salsa de molcajete.